Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers with Brand Squad's memorable promotional products. Simple marketing, effective results. We do the thinking. You do the winning. Brand Squad, on point with your promotional products.
All right,
Are we live?
yeah.
Does it say we're live?
It says streaming and it's counting down, so yes.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tiki Hut Studios. I'm Ken Rose, your lovely co-host with Minuteman Press, and my partner in crime all the way to the right. I'll let him give his own introduction because he always has a lot to say.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe Knows the Podcast with Ken and Lisa Rose. And today we have a special guest star, Mandy Deal. Mandy, I should know the name of your business, but it changed recently, and I'm getting a hard time remembering it.
Joe.
But I remember you. You're unforgettable.
Oh, yes, thanks.
That's
You just made up for that. Mandy Deal with DOMA Title, formerly North American Title, Joe.
Oh, formerly. See, I knew the formerly North
Yes.
American, but I didn't want to bring it up. But since she said it, it's okay. Now it's DOMA.
Right.
But
of
what
course
does
you
DOMA
do.
stand for?
So DOMA is a Latin version of domain.
Oh, I like
So
it.
domain.
So it's like you're going to conquer the domain? Is that it? Or
I tell you, we got some really cool things.
Or do we need to call GoDaddy to schedule an
Or
appointment?
domicile.
No,
Domicile?
Oh, that too, but let's don't call GoDaddy. I'm good.
Or dominant.
I'm good.
Dominant in the market.
Yeah.
Speaking of GoDaddy, we're back to the what's up with that?
Well, you know what? Let's let our producer introduce herself, and maybe she can figure out why she's in that.
Hey, everybody, I'm Lisa Rose with Brand Squad. Good to be here.
Is it? This is the first time we have a couple of ladies on the show at once. That's pretty good.
That's right.
Hey, as you can see,
Lisa's not outnumbered.
I got her back.
Well, as you can see, everyone, because Lisa is our producer, she's stuck in the office today. But
always.
Lovely Mandy Deal, Joe and I, we are down in Hillsboro. And behind us is the most expensive home in the Palm Beach area. This is Playa Vista Isle.
Wow.
And it was just on the market for just $159 million.
Woo, baby.
About $159,900,000 more than I can afford.
I'll take two of them.
Do we
this-
know who used to own this? That's
We
the
do
question.
not.
Who's
All
the
I know is it's
registered
called Playa Vista Isle. So anybody that speaks Spanish or Portuguese or Latin probably knows what that means.
owner? Okay, so I was,
It's a small house. It's 60,000 square feet,
Yeah, it's
11 bedrooms, 22 bathrooms.
so obviously we have this is the same angle that you're looking
Yes.
at behind us. I was telling Lisa before, I can see just on this side of the house 1, 2, 3, 4 fountains and 5 swimming pools. Don't know what's on the other side of the house.
There are 13 water features, 13 of them.
15 water features. Let's the bathroom. You ever going to use this?
Of Florida.
Wear his Speedo there.
That
Joe
I
could wear
could
his
my
Speedo and nobody would
there,
see him.
Mostly because I would be all alone. It was amazing. Whenever I wear my Speedo, I find myself all alone. What's up with that? Even Miss Pat
No,
doesn't stick around
It
for
is
that.
early in the morning, Joe. It is a little early.
I think it's a blinding sight, I guess. You're like, oh, God, I'm turning to stone, Oh, no. But it says here that, what does it say? It has gilded 24-karat gold leaf gilding throughout.
Oh, wow.
Because you have nothing else to do with your money. Let's buy some gold and put
Because
it
you
on the
need
wall.
gold leaf on that toilet flush.
The bathrooms are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Just
Pristine.
100%.
Probably
Yeah.
bigger than in my master bedroom.
They got televisions,
Excuse me.
TVs.
Bigger than my main bedroom. or my owner's.
Oh, I
in the house
You know
you live
what?
in now.
I know on the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Hold
But
on,
anyway.
I'm out of here.
Have you met the Flockers?
even more importantly, some of you may or may not know. You know, the past couple of years, you had to keep a 6-foot distance from people, and believe it or not, there is less than a 6-foot difference between 4 realtors in this room.
That's right. That's right.
Because in order to live within South Lake County, you must be a realtor.
That's right.
Even if you don't sell real estate, it's part of the initiation.
Every 1.5 people in Lake County is a realtor. That's just the way it works.
More lately.
Now, I will tell you the number from 2 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic. It's gotten worse since. There was 1 realtor for every 9 people in the state of Florida over the age of 21. And that was pre-pandemic.
now each person has their own personal realtor.
That's right. Just like everybody
1 in
at this
3,
house has
you
their
know.
own pool. That's right.
God.
That's right.
And-
It is crazy.
It is. It is.
But us 4 are the best, so.
Well, so far, we have like 170 years experience between us if we add it all up.
And no listing.
Oh, and by the way, Mandy, you can jump in any time in this
That's
disaster
right.
of a conversation.
Well, I mean, you guys were doing a great job. So,
Well, you're a big.
well, you know, I can't. We got Joe here. I couldn't get any.
I know.
anything in. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, especially now, the amount of real estate agents is absurd. I love them all, but there's so many. You know, everybody wants to make that quick dollar. So Joe was right, though. You know, we're all sitting in this room, and how many listings do you have,
1.
Joe?
None.
Lisa?
None.
And of course,
And I'm not even practicing real estate.
well, and I'm not either. So I don't either. I have my license. I've had it for several years. But there you go. You have 2 listings out of 4 people in this room that could possibly have one. So
Look here, and it comes down to, and I have a lot that are in the pipeline that I'm trying to find a resident solution for the person. You know, so most of them I'm actually trying to find a house off the market so that I can put their house on the market. You know, which really is the best way to help a buyer today is to, because if you don't want to deal with the whole 30 offers and, you know, all of this, and I won't bore you with my theory on 30 offers in 2 days, you know.
that's been
Your
going on for
your
a
house is
while,
priced
too.
too low.
Your house is priced way too. I actually was talking to somebody yesterday that, and he put it the best. He said, you know, there's a lot of realtors in the business today, and there's a lot of stupid in the business today. And I gotta, somebody showed me a contract that, and I swear to God, you know, when you have an as-is contract, what's the financing? You can have cash and no financing contingency, and the buyer's going to pay cash. Or you can have financing, and you can have conventional financing, FHA financing, VA financing, or other, which is generally USDA. This contract had all 5 boxes checked.
Well, they were ready to go.
They had all their bases covered.
All 5 boxes checked in the interest rate section, 10%.
10%. Wow.
I was like, this got to. I said, you know, you're upset at this realtor. You should be upset at the broker. I mean, at some point, this poor guy is coming to the business, and nobody's taken 5 minutes to tell him you're an idiot.
Oh my God.
But this is part of the struggle.
Well, that's because
Right.
everyone's so busy showing houses.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
they
so
don't have the
busy
5
showing
minutes.
houses. I mean, they don't take the 5 minutes.
Well, how about this? How about I make phone calls to real estate agents all the time, and they don't have 5 minutes to talk to me? Why do you think that is? Joe?
Well,
Yeah.
Brandy,
Well,
that might
that
be
could be a
another
personal
issue.
thing.
Oh, I see. So
you,
I just stuck my own foot in that.
Have you questioned your brand of underarm deodorant?
I'm all right.
Here we
I
go.
just checked it out. I'm okay.
And we're going off the
Phone
rails.
call. They can't smell her over the phone.
Yeah. But
Can you imagine if people could? Oh man, it'd be over.
Everyone's too busy all the time. So they're too busy for me. They're too busy for you. They're too busy for Lisa and Ken too.
That's right. Hey, how was this weekend for everybody? Lisa, what the hell did you do this weekend?
What did we do?
Oh, come on.
Friday,
What
we
did we do?
had 70s night at the Oak.
Oh, that was
Right.
fun.
That was a lot
How
of
was
fun.
that, Lisa?
That was fun. You
Was
saw
that
the
fun?
pictures, right?
Was that really fun?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Friday
Joe?
night
Are there
was
any consequences to Friday night,
No.
Lisa?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Lisa had a little tint of blue all day Saturday.
You mean green?
Or green.
It was rough.
I didn't see Lisa till almost 3 o'clock.
Right.
She was looking rough.
What was going on Saturday, Mandy?
So Saturday, the Fabulous Flockers put on a charity kickball game with fire, EMS, and local police in Lake County for the Greater Claremont Cancer Foundation, Bras for the Cause, and boxers too. But I saw all you guys there.
We had no idea what was going on. We were slinging hot dogs. We
Yeah.
were put in a corner like baby. Nobody came to take us out of the corner, serving hot
I
dogs.
checked on you guys a bunch on Saturday.
You know, the truth is, they tried to get me to do other stuff. I'm like, I'm cooking hot dogs.
Yeah.
I signed up to cook hot dogs. That's what I'm doing.
I
And I ended
know.
up cooking burgers.
Well,
I know we wore tutus and boas.
Yes.
And
No, when she says we, she means them.
oh yeah, if we had Joe in a tutu,
No, not going to happen.
Although
For free,
the,
at least.
the firefighters and police looked adorable in their tutus.
they were
So-
very hot.
they were cute. I mean, it was really.
You're stirring me up now.
They were
Ken.
good
All right.
sports.
Good thing you're sitting, Joe. Good thing you're sitting.
They were very good sports.
Don't lean over to Mandy, please.
At Minuteman Press, we believe in building relationships, treating people with respect, and we take real pride in helping people build their own brands. We create, we design, we print, and we promote. We laugh, we enjoy. We are friends and family. We are thankful for your trust and the opportunity to build with you. We are modern. We are knowledgeable. And we are inspired. We are growing. Contact your local Minuteman Press today to say hello and see how we can help your business. Together, let's build our relationship.
5:15, she comes over to the table. She's like, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Did you just smoke some meth? What's going on here?"
I got my
her
second
second
wind. That's right. I got my second wind.
I know what you did. You drank so much water that alcohol reinitialized in your body, didn't it?
I listen, I have no idea.
You know, that's why you're supposed to drink water when you get a hangover,
Right.
because it'll hydrate your body and the alcohol will go back to work. You'll
Joe,
feel good.
you are so
No, it's
full.
true.
Or just keep drinking.
It's
Yeah. You're
it's
so
why
full of
no,
it.
it's true. It's why
Tell 'em,
water
I
will correct
don't
a hangover.
know.
Have you ever heard that, Lisa?
I've never
No.
had a hangover. I
I've just
couldn't
heard
tell
it.
Oh my goodness.
Hair of the dog is what I've heard of.
Yeah, me too.
To keep
See,
drinking.
that's worse though. I mean, you got to have water to.
But it does help your
hydrate your
stomach if
body.
you have another drink.
See, my
I just didn't do
trick,
it today. That's probably my problem.
like people get sick all the time from drinking, and I've gotten sick. But my trick is I strip completely naked. I climb in the shower. I turn the shower on and go to sleep.
Well, listen, since we're on this,
Lisa came one day. She's like, "Ken, you're gonna drown." I'm like, "No, I'm fine.
I'm in the
really.
shower."
I have a tankless hot water heater. I'll never run out of hot water. Just let me sleep."
since we're on this subject, I just had this conversation the other day with my brother in Texas, and I said, "Has anyone tried to your home IVs? Like people are now getting." They have services where they'll come to
Oh
your
yeah,
house and
yeah.
do
I've
an
heard of
IV.
that. I've never done
Yeah,
it. Of course, I don't
me
drink
neither,
anymore.
but
So.
I don't know, but I know mobile pet to vet to my house is expensive, so I don't know if I want an IV showing up at my house. Probably $500. I'll just throw up. Thank you.
You know, there's actually a local business, Dr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Dr. Vaughn.
Precision Integrative
Medicine.
Yes.
He actually does an IV vitamin treatment.
Right.
And I've met some people. I've talked to some people who actually had it, and they said, you know, the next day you feel absolutely amazing.
yeah, I've heard great things about some of his stuff that he does.
And it makes sense because if you're getting an IV vitamin, it's probably a little higher quality than my Walmart
Right.
brand Men's Over 50 one a day.
but the bigger issue with Shauna and Dustin's business is if you have a hangover the next morning, how are you even getting there?
You're not. You gotta make
I mean, are you Ubering over there? Hey, I need an Uber, and you
gotta
throw
make
up in the back of the
house
Uber, and do you have them wait for you? What do you do?
Look, Dr. Vaughn and Shauna are business people enough that if you paid for it, they'd do it. I'm sure they'd come to a house call.
I know they would come to my house. My house is always fun anyway.
Doc, please, I'll pay an extra $700. Just get here.
Ken said he'll just throw
Bring
up.
that ID, man.
Catch me later. Although I did learn, I was on a cruise, on big boats, and I got seasick for the first time because we were on the back end of a hurricane. And when you're sick in a stateroom, it's like being in a casket. You're tight and there's nowhere to go. And I'm like, oh God, and I finally break down to call the infirmary. And they said, well, would you like a wheelchair? I'm like, yeah, send a wheelchair. Because I was so afraid of how much is this going to cost on the ship for them to take care of me. So at that point, I'm like, screw it. It's been 24 hours to 30 hours. I'm sick in my cabin. I can't eat any food. And so they wheelchair me down. They asked me to show my ass. They give me a shot in the ass. Within an hour, I felt like $1 million. They slipped the bill under the door. And I'm like, oh my God, what's this bill? $50.
No way.
$50.
That's what
I suffered for a day and a half when I could have just spent $50.
Over $50.
Over $50.
I would have been more
Wow.
afraid that in the pitching ship, the guy would have lost control. I'd have run right into a wall.
Well, at least if it would have knocked me out, I'd be okay.
That's true.
But yeah, it was $50, and it was a
happened to
shot in the
you?
butt.
I got a
and
shot in
I
my
was
butt and
perfect.
broke my arm. What
That's
do you-
terrible though, because I went on a deep sea fishing trip. Oh God, it's probably been 10 or 12 years. Man.
When you're
those
out
are
there
rough.
miles out. Oh,
I was so sick. I took Dramamine, but it was a little too late for it. I stayed sick the whole time, didn't fish.
I took a Dramamine on one
that's
of those.
brutal.
I was
Yeah.
okay.
because you
bad.
can't.
But-
It's like you're gonna die.
Where you go? Yeah, I
Let
thought
me
I
tell you
was
what.
dying.
The first
Call the
time,
Coast Guard to come get you.
The first time I went on a cruise, I was deathly ill from being seasick, and I went and asked the doc to give me something, and the reaction was, "Buck up, you're a Marine."
I was just about to say, weren't you in the Navy?
Yes, no,
Oh,
no.
oh,
What?
oh, well,
What? Oh, them's fighting words right there. No.
Well, I mean, Joe, you didn't. Joe,
Marines are
you
usually on
didn't-
land, though.
Well, Joe didn't remember the name of the business
Navy
I worked for, so I forgot.
Yeah.
They're basically glorified ocean-going
Yeah,
cab
but
drivers.
but listen, if you didn't have the Navy, you wouldn't be able to get there.
We're gonna
No,
be
we have
getting letters.
planes. See, we have our own airplanes. We
This
don't even
derailed
trust
quick.
the Air Force.
Let's just this derail quick.
Might have to separate these two.
Well, instead of a
Kidding
real estate
aside,
story,
all respect to
so
both
what's
other
your drinking
services.
story? What's your worst drinking story?
Me?
I know you've had to have one.
Oh, speaking of the cruise, I went on a cruise with my mom, my sister, my niece. We used to take these annual cruises, and we were dancing. I think it was like a 70s night or something. We were dancing, and I just I just want one more. My sister's like, don't do it. You don't need just one more. Next thing you know, she has to bring a chair out in the middle of the dance floor, and I'm sitting there like, she goes, I told you not to do it.
How old were you?
Oh, this was just a few years ago.
This isn't even a story from when you were like 16.
No, that's
No,
like
it's-
maybe 5 years ago.
Luckily, there wasn't a
I
bar
got-
mitzvah going on. Otherwise, they would have picked you up on a chair and danced you around for an hour and a half.
Lisa,
So,
I have to say, I have great respect for you for being, I mean, let's face it, you are an adult. You're not a teenager.
I didn't drink as a kid.
And I well,
good.
let's face it, you've been an adult for a couple of years. I want to applaud you that story was only a few years ago. My worst drinking story was when I got married.
Really?
My wife's cousins said there was a tradition. And so I'm a dummy. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do the tradition. They sat on my I promised my wife I wouldn't drink or get high the night before the wedding because I had a reputation. And
To uphold.
Still do.
To
You
uphold.
still do, Joe. You still do.
Still do. For different reasons, though. Her cousin sat on my chest and literally poured a bottle of Jack Daniels down my throat.
Oh my God.
I do not believe this. I do not believe she sat on your chest.
They
and poured
said
it
they
down your
literally
throat.
4 of them. They sat on my. I'm a jarhead. There was only one way to make that happen. Held my nose, right?
Whoa.
Even choking me. So you had to when they do this, you go.
The night night you introduced Speedos into your
Into his
No, that came long before
outerwear.
That.
Yeah.
That comes from my stripper days.
Oh, my
Has
God.
anybody here ever
story-
done a keg stand where you're upside down and then?
yeah.
Oh, hell
I've
no.
never done that.
Okay,
No.
well,
I
You
try
have?
never to be upside down.
So the
Mandy
worst
has.
part of this is my
And it wasn't just a couple of years ago. It was a long time ago.
Last week at a DOMA event, Mandy was upside down.
No.
So the
Not
worst
anytime
part of this
recently.
story is my best friend to get me fined for the wedding, which is supposed to be at 11 o'clock in the morning, actually takes me outside of this small. She was in New Hampshire. It's a little tiny mill town in northern New Hampshire, and literally props my chin over the curb, over the sewer grate.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Holding my hair, which was quite long
You
at
had
the
hair?
time. Oh yeah, I had long hair.
Okay,
Very
I gotta
long
see a
hair.
picture.
We got to find a picture of that.
Yes.
That's right.
And all I remember was the retching, and I had to wear sunglasses, not because I couldn't stand the light, but because I had retched so hard, I broke all these
the
blood
blood
vessels in my eyes. I was like vampire blood.
Oh, that's awful.
And Patty is like, "You're not taking those glasses off. If a camera's around, you put them on."
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Thank God the movie It hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
With the clown calling
my
you down the drain.
Listen, you guys ruined a movie on this show for me a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's right.
Don't ruin another one, okay?
You
What
ruined
movie did we
ET.
ruin?
E.T..
Well, yeah. What was the story behind that? What?
Well, it was just funny because somebody gave one of the main parts. I've seen E.T.
Oh, okay, all right.
Somebody gave away one of the main parts, and for people who haven't seen it, they're
Somebody as in Ken.
oh, you've never seen
No,
it?
I saw
No,
it.
he
Oh,
gave
Ken-
away.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Ken,
gave it
well, you were
away.
the one.
What did I say?
I don't remember,
All
but I
right.
just know I said, yeah, thanks for
Something
ruining
about
the
what
movie for me.
happens at the end where you
No,
think
I was
he's-
talking about shooting that dang alien. Okay,
you
that's
think
what
he's
you should
dead
do.
or-
You want to
Oh, right,
dissect
right,
it?
right.
You don't capture it. You shoot it in the head.
Yeah.
Then you dissect it.
Yeah,
I'm staying away from Joe if
Cut
I'm
it
drinking and
open.
passed out. Joe's be like, let's dissect this guy. You think he's a dead.
with his sunglasses on.
So are we going to talk title companies or what?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. And because Mandy does have a great company with DOMA, we actually just sent another closing her way.
Thank
So,
you so much.
so
Thank-
Now, Mandy,
tell
you
us
so
about
much.
DOMA. Tell us about.
I said there's a lot of stupid in realtors. Okay, you must see a lot of stupid.
So, I mean, that's a touchy subject.
Not if you don't mention any
You
names.
don't have to mention names.
So,
you
I'll
can
be-
pick a story from 3-5 years ago.
It's funny because we actually had a local brokerage give us a call a couple years ago and ask us to do a class based on title horror stories and what title companies could not stand about what real estate agents do. So we produced this class. We got all the horror stories we could from all the different closers. It was very successful. But I mean, we have people that do things that it just blows my mind how they even got their license.
They're good test takers.
Hence the stupid.
I mean, you can learn things from a book, but I really do believe, maybe working with someone that knows what they're doing would probably be helpful for a lot of real estate agents.
Yes.
So it's really, right now it's kind of like, let's do everything as fast as we can. I got to get that money.
Does
People
that
don't know.
mean that you probably shouldn't select your hairdresser's cousin's uncle's baby mama
Be
as
your
as
agent.
as an agent?
You're welcome to do whatever you'd like. Okay. But I think we had this conversation the last time I was on. Try not to represent yourself. So let me just put it that way. Don't represent yourself. Find someone who is able to represent you in a nice way.
So tell us one of those. I want to the title horror stories. I know I have a few, but go ahead, give us one.
Well, we have. I was not involved in this one. So this is a story from another
So-
closer.
So this is not necessarily factual.
Right. This
This is innuendo.
no, it's factual.
Oh, okay, there you go.
It just wasn't.
Didn't involve her.
It
Oh.
wasn't me.
All legal counsel, just go to her.
So no, you know what? I think I'm out on that. No, I'm just kidding. When you
You're
start talking
stuck
about
now.
legal, I'm out of here.
Nobody's watching the show.
Dude, I can get out of here if I need to. I'll go under or over. No.
My cousin is watching right now.
Okay.
That's it.
Hi,
My cousin. Hi, Sherry.
hi, Sherry. Horror stories with deeds. People like to quit claim deeds on their own.
Mhm.
I don't don't have anything too very funny. What are you writing over there?
Well, talking to you, I remembered a story from a closing I had that made me think of a customer, and I realized I have to.
It might be much more interesting than my story. We just seem to.
Okay. Or 60, 70 days. So they're calling me the other day. Well, we need to know. And I'm like, okay, I'm not. Some things I can't tell. But if I were you, I would call his broker and ask this. I would call his, but don't tell them I told you to call him. So we get to the close. This guy shows up. You laugh about Speedos. This guy had a set of Daisy Dukes on that was far too short.
The agent or the
agent. This is
Wow.
like 24
Oh my
years old,
gosh.
right? The Daisy Dukes, he's wearing a surfer tank top, one of the big loose ones,
Right.
He's got the chain, and he's barely washed, unshaven, in the flip-flops.
Oh my
So,
Wow.
and he won't shut up. Like they're trying to do, when you're in a closing, you want to let the closing agent
Yeah.
say what you maybe have a nice little conversation. When the closing agent starts talking, you shut up, right? Because the closing agent got to do what they got to do.
Sure.
So we get it all closed. My customer, and this is back when buyer and seller always closed at the same time. They're
Oh,
in
that
the same
never
room.
that never
Yeah,
happens.
that's changed. They don't do that because of privacy laws now.
You can still
So
do it.
so this guy
I've
is
had a
like,
couple. They got along
Yeah,
great.
Nobody wants to, but you can still
Yeah.
do it.
this guy is talking, and finally his customer looks at him and says, "Shut up. Joe's been more of an agent than you have. If I could, I'd take your commission and give it to him." So I leave, right? Because I'm
Oh,
like,
God.
okay, I don't need to be, I don't want to get in this guy's trouble. So I leave, and I'm talking to the closing agent later. And as before, I used to get paid in a wire. So I have to go back in and get my check. And I go back in and get my check, and the closing agent is snickering her butt off. I said, "What happened?" She said, "Oh, it got better after you left." I was like, "It got better after his customer said he wanted to give me his commission?" She's like, "Yeah." We got all done. He took his check, and we're sitting, his customer's sitting there waiting for copies. He took his check, and he went to use the restroom. When he came back, it's dripping wet, and he says, "I went for a pee and dropped it in the toilet.
Oh,
Can I have some paper towels?"
oh crap.
And of course, she says to him, "Throw it away." "No, I don't need to touch it. Just throw it away. We'll shred it later. I'll cut you a new
Oh
one."
my God.
It was, and the reason I wrote Vicky's name down is that when I followed up with her a little bit later, she said, "Oh my God, Joe, that guy was a horror story. You have all my business
Yeah, that's
forever from now on."
That's awesome.
And she's done several homes with me, and I had to remember she had asked me for something, and I wanted to write it down so I don't forget.
Well, that was a long way to answer my question. What are you writing down? But
Woo!
it does.
Well, you said my story might be better than yours.
But I do
so.
have a good one. So as you were talking, I was sitting here going, well, maybe I'll tell that story. So this was not that long ago. Our closing agent's sitting in the closing room, waiting a little while. Customers are there, waiting on some documents to show up. And the agent and the buyers decide they're going to order food to be delivered to the title company. They're going to have some snacks.
Sure.
So
Snacks.
ask
Snacky snacks.
asked the closing agent if she would like something. Of course, she declined. "No, I'm fine, thank you." So while they're waiting for the food, they finish the closing. Documents came in. Closing gets finished, and she thought, "All right, well, we're all set. They'll go, right? They'll get their food and go." Oh no. They just camped out at the closing table and ate their chicken wings and decided that they would
For the
have
next
their-
3 hours,
have their
right?
dinner there, and it was about 5 o'clock. And she said, "Hey guys, I mean,
Oh
all
my-
taken care of. Congratulations!" And they just sat there and kept
Plenty
eating.
of love for
Kept
you.
eating their
Did they bring
snacks.
alcohol too?
There was no alcohol.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
But
Could have been a long night.
I thought, wow. I mean, it's getting to the point where we're ordering dinner into the closing rooms now. So.
I had a closing. It's kind of a sad story. I had a closing probably 8-9 years ago. And I mean, at like 10 o'clock in the morning, the other agent showed up, literally falling down drunk. I don't know how he drove to it.
Gosh.
He was falling down drunk.
Maybe he Ubered there.
This was before Uber.
Oh no!
You could look. You might be able to get an Uber now in Claremont, but I'll tell you, if you're up in Lady Lake, you still can't get one.
Maybe it was a taxi cab.
Yeah.
There
He
you
was
go.
Taxi.
he was just falling down drunk. It is sad. I heard a couple of years later that he had passed away, and it was sad. But I thought, that maybe that was an indication
Sure.
when you're showing up to collect a commission check at 10 o'clock in the morning. Literally, he fell down twice.
Wow.
In the title, he fell out of his chair.
You're supposed to celebrate a closing until after you get that check.
Listen, it takes all kinds to make.
Have
a
you ever
closing
seen? I was in a closing. I was in a closing with a lady. The customer and the agent, they were both in their 70s. They were so high. I mean, you could. There was like the eyes were blood red, and you could just smell it. That they had like sat in the car. I wondered if when they opened the thing, you saw the Fast Times
Smoke
at
roll out.
Ridgemont High, smoke come out.
No, that's Cheech and Chong. That's Cheech and Chong.
It was called Up in Smoke.
Up in
Yeah,
Smoke.
Chicken Chong, Up in Smoke.
But they were like, so I thought, wow, I kind of like this. These two are mellow.
This is one of the calmest closings I've ever had.
So we ought to recommend this down the road.
No, my worst closing was with a couple where the husband wanted to read every single line of every document
The
put in
worst.
front of
That
him.
happens a lot, believe it or not.
Which wasn't funny. My funny thing is I was listing a home, and it was in a very high-end exclusive area. I forget the price of the home. It was either $17,900 or $19,900, as in thousands.
Something like this.
Something like that. So and you only go to the property when it's light out. So I go to the property, do the walkthrough, and it's an easy walkthrough.
Not because there's no electricity, because it's the only way you feel safe.
Correct,
Yes,
correct.
yes.
So I'm driving back out of the neighborhood, and I get flagged down by a female who wants to position me. For, a little excitement on my way back from this listing. And I was like, no, sorry, I got to go right now. Maybe we catch up another time. And I flew right out of that neighborhood as quick as I could. That was an unbelievable experience. It was brutal.
This was up in the Leesburg area, but I had, during the downtime, the people who had money, they were buying in those areas because you could get a place, real cheap. You could rent it out, and I actually have a customer who has this
I'm
year.
sorry, Joe, can you remind us what real cheap is now? Because we don't know what
Back
that
in
is.
those days, real cheap was $100 a month, $400 a month.
Okay, because now.
No. Well,
that's
and like
completely
you
off
could
the
buy
table.
duplexes and triplexes for like $30,000, $25,000. So
Wow.
if you could get $300 a month for it, you're making some serious
Sure.
money.
Sure.
So, anyways, this customer that I was servicing,
I'm going to
at the
scoot
time,
real quickly. I'll be right back.
This customer that I was helping, of course, it was a drug neighborhood. It was like a notorious drug neighborhood. Like I wouldn't go show houses during the day. We went in to go look at this house, and we look at one side. It's a duplex. We look at one side. It's tore up because it's a foreclosure and it's
Sure.
on the market. And we could hear something. I thought it was squirrels. I could hear like, something up in the attic, something next door. I thought it was squirrels. I'm like, okay, we're done to this side. Do you need to see this? Yeah, I'd like to see the other side. So I go to open up the other side, and I open the door, and I get hit in the face with this cloud of crack smoke.
Oh my god.
There's 7 guys sitting. Realtor, that's okay, guys. You're good to go. I turn around to my customer. He's like, well, I want to see it. I'm like, by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Right. I'm out of here.
I'm like, dude, you got like a $8,000 watch on. I would not walk in there if I was you.
No, you have to know
Holy
your
cow.
surroundings.
So
Joe.
here's the
You have
best
to know
part
your
of that.
surroundings.
Woo! I'm back.
I'm showing him several houses in there, And I'm pulling out of there one night. It's dusk. It's like 5:30. Police pull me over. And like I'm in a suit. I have the real estate signs in my back. I'm driving an SUV. I mean, it's obvious I've got realtor stuff all over the car. This cop pulls me out, runs the dog around the car. And it's a main road.
Wow.
And like this, at the time, Leesburg is a fairly small area. I mean, it still is, but this is a main road, and I'm fairly well known in my church, my community. And this cop is like, got me there, the lights on me. And he's like, well, you're coming out of a drug neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, I got a listing 2 blocks up. All you have to do is send your partner up. Have him walk up there. You can see the sign with my face on it.
It's me, I promise.
Yeah.
It's me.
Well, do you think he pulled you over because you had that giant velvet tiger with the head bobbing in the back window?
The worst part is he says to me, he comes back, they couldn't find anything. And now I'm getting snarky. All right. And like
Not you,
the
Joe.
guy searching the car, and it was obviously like the experienced cop, 15, 16 years on the force, and the new guy. Because the new guy's like, pulls out his mirror, he's looking under the wheel well.
Oh, jeez.
Well, here's the funny part. He never looked in the cargo area. So he searches the entire car.
That's where you're keeping everything?
Yeah.
In the cargo area.
So I said to him, you want me to move those signs for me to open that cargo area? I might have a pound of coke
Or a
up
body.
in there or something. And of course, then the experience goes, you don't need to be like that. I'm like, dude, you've had me standing out here and it's hot, and I'm in a suit, right? I'm drenched through on a main road during rush hour, and you say I've got an attitude. So they call in the dog. The dog walks around and he actually comes over to me. It's probably the snarkiest I've ever been to a cop. He says to me, "You want to tell us why our dog is alerting at your car, on the passenger side of your car?" I'm like, I've been clean and sober for about 8 years. I said, why don't you it's your dog, ask him why he alerted. I said, because if he really alerted, I think he'd be tearing that car apart like crazy.
Could be the cheeseburgers in the door.
Why did he alert? Maybe you squeezed your little control ball.
I mean, it's a trained dog, so.
I mean, he had to let me go eventually. It was I felt bad for the guy.
Right.
Because
Oh, boy.
I knew the chief of police at the time, and I mean, I never do this. I'm just not a complaint. I don't complain when I get bad service. When I get bad service in a restaurant, I'll like call the manager over and tell him I got good service. I don't complain. I'll just won't come back.
Really?
Yeah.
Do
Oh
you
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's because nobody ever says the good stuff, But in this instance, I called the chief and I said there was no need to keep. I get it. You look at my plate, you call me up, my record comes up. I get it. But you didn't need to have me there for an hour. You could, anybody with reasonable
Knowledge.
knowledge would say, okay, realtor, he says he's a realtor. He's got the
Realtor
briefcase.
sign.
He's got the realtor signs. He's
Yeah.
got the flyers. Oh, yeah, there's a sign with his face on it,
Right.
2 blocks up.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody reasonable would have said, well, thank you, sir.
Right.
Goodbye.
Right.
This is a drug neighborhood. No, it completely escaped me. So I was trying to get out of here before it turned dark.
They search a briefcase too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Briefcase of
they
cash.
Did
searched me.
Good
You know what they did? They
grief.
made,
Search me.
they made him strip down to his Speedo.
Speedo. And they
yeah.
said that's enough.
Yeah.
We've seen enough.
They said, you're welcome to go now, sir.
And never ever put a Speedo on in public again. Even if it's under your suit.
And even if it's this house in your own pool.
What is your experience? Did you have a bad? All I know is you get the most crazy listings. There's like never a comp.
I'll have to think about it in a minute.
Oh, you
Come
think
back
about
to
that. We'll come back to you later.
I don't
So
think anything out of the ordinary.
what does DOMA Title do?
So
Talk
don't-
about DOMA, where you're located, what you guys actually do, what title is, and title insurance, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So DOMA is actually headquartered in California. I was just there about a month ago, so that was a nice visit for work. We had a sales rally, so that was great. My office is in Claremont. We do have offices around the United States, so we also have an office in Maitland, Lakeland, Tampa offices, Miami, West Palm. But what I do is the consulting for the company for the office here in Claremont. So I go around and talk to guys like you all day long, and we eat and we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, Joe, I haven't talked
I'll
to you
pray
in a
for
while.
you.
So, But we do residential and commercial real estate closings. We can work with investors. We, like Ken said, we are actually handling a closing for him now. So we appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, so we have a lot of really cool things coming. So DOMA has changed. They're trying to change the title industry with technology. So we have some really cool things coming down the pike. I look forward to sharing those with you just as soon as we have them available.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm really excited.
We talk about this kind of thing in real estate all the time. What is the most important thing to title? If you're getting ready to sell a house, what is the most important thing for somebody to know about title?
Well, that's a loaded question because
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked it.
yeah, you just threw me right on the spot. So there are so many important things, but one important thing to know to somebody that's selling their house, not the agent, but to the seller.
Well, let's say the first thing. What's the first thing they should know before?
She's trying to tell us.
Okay.
Honestly,
I'm going to take that mic away from you.
right now, the first thing that you would probably want to know is where is it that you're looking to go. I mean, that's so important, especially with the way the market is. Also, people are so concerned about what they're going to get for their home that they're not worried about where they're going to live when they do sell it. They want the most money they can get for what they've got right now. So find a good real estate agent and know where you're going to go. Those are two very important things.
I know 4 within 2 feet of each other.
So those are
we violating the CDC guidelines?
I don't believe so. We're related because we're realtors.
That's right. That's right. I believe that.
And I'm title. I'm allowed to sit right here.
Yeah.
So what is Mandy's perspective on where the market's going to go?
Oh, that's where I pull my crystal ball out and tell you exactly what's going to happen. Right? It's funny
Your
because
gut.
my gut says to me, because we've been going through this for 2 years. I don't foresee any big changes coming. I think that we're going to stay the way we are. I think you're seeing a lot more builder going on right now. They're not paying much commission from what I understand right now, some of the builders.
It's dropped.
Yeah. So I think with the prices, people are still moving in here 1,100 people a day to Florida.
Wow.
Okay, so I don't foresee that anything's dropping off anytime soon. I foresee this market to continue to go, in my opinion, at least another couple of years. Now, again, no crystal ball. So
That's a great statistic. You know what the scary part of that statistic is?
what's that?
They're only completing about 200 homes a day.
Right, but where are the people going that are selling their homes here in Florida? Because they're not going out of state.
Well, that's exactly the point.
Right.
Is that there are more people coming in than they're building homes for. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and he was talking about resales, and I was like, you understand that the new homes today are the resales next year. That's, in 5 years, if we don't build enough homes today, and we're already 10 years behind, if we don't build homes today, then in 5 years, we're still short of homes.
Right. Well, look, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, look at all the places they are building, though. I mean, there's neighborhoods going up everywhere, condos going up everywhere. I mean, those are all places that somebody's going to be able to live. People right now are buying RVs. They sell their house, get the money they can get, buy an RV, and when the market does dip just a little bit, then they're going to find somewhere to go. Those are my smart friends.
Yeah.
Well,
They may not be smart.
Even the rental,
You never know.
but even the rental community it's so tight a market to get rentals. Lisa and I spent the past week finding my son a rental because he decided to build a new house over in Trinity Lakes, and there were like, I want to say there were on the MLS there were 17 rental properties between Groveland, Claremont, Mineola, and half of them were $2,500 a month and more.
It's ridiculous.
And as soon as they're hitting, there are applications. Fortunately, being a realtor, and you talk to other realtors when you're trying to get a rental property, you get preferential treatment. So we were able to secure a brand new house for Hunter to rent in where are we?
I don't know if you want to say where he's living.
No, but anyway, reaching out to like. Go. I said to my son, I said, if you want this house, we got to go. We got an application now. And so we started putting applications in before he even looked at them, just so that we were the first in line.
But he did get somewhere, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
That's
Now,
great.
and that's, I'm actually helping a customer right now. We were looking actually in Four Corners, which used to be the way if you need to rent a house, if you're willing to make the drive, you
Sure.
save a little bit of money.
Of course.
Nothing under $2,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Crazy.
Yeah,
And that's
he
in
looked
the
at- he
quote,
looked
unquote-
over there too.
Yeah, we looked at one in Sawgrass Bay.
That's-
Brand new, and it was like 20.
I mean, even Bay,
Yeah.
right? In those older communities,
Right.
It's typically been a great savings, but nothing under 2,200.
Nothing.
And funny, I went to show one house, and the neighbor across the street comes up. Are you with the company that's managing this? I'm like, no. Why? Well, you got to trim this, and it needs to be painted. It should be pressure washed. And I'm thinking,
Oh boy.
well, brother, man, you shouldn't have bought a house in a rental neighborhood. But here's the thing. This gets back to, on this show, we've talked about it a lot, is I believe prices aren't going in. While I believe the economy may crash, it's not going to affect the prices because of the amount that's owned by corporations. Rental is, they're actually,
There's a lot more of that going on now than there was
oh,
before.
ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Oh.
I actually have a customer who I'm trying to help build a house here, coming in from Texas, and he and a few other guys, they flip apartment complexes. Able to flip, and he was even telling me it's getting tough because there's so many big corporations buying these places up, and they're not flipping them and selling them.
Yeah.
They're fixing them up and renting them out for premium prices. So, it's not just you. I have to tell all my rental customers, look, you're going to have to spend $300 or $400 applying to be first in line when these come up. And that's what one of the things corporations have done to, I think, the rental market is there's a business model and many of them charge $250 and they won't even let you see the house until you
but
apply.
Here's the thing.
Right.
If you can't find a house to buy, and when you do, you're not going to spend $300 or $400. You're going to spend $3, $4, $10, $12, $15,000 more, even 25 or
Sure.
30 than asking price.
Right.
Well,
So I mean, at what point do you say, I got to do something, so let's just do it? I mean,
well,
That's
it's
where we're
again,
at right now.
you need a good realtor like the people here. I know, the last few buyers that I've actually put in a house, I found a house off the market. So, there's not a question. I find somebody interested in selling. I bring my customer by. We put that deal together. There's no bidding.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my buyers, look, we're going to go see this house. It's not on the market, but he's not a fool either.
yeah.
You're not going to lowball him. We need to offer market price, and this is what I think market price should be. But the advantage is you don't have to fight now. Two of those buyers were FHA loans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when you have somebody that you're bringing to the table that isn't on the open market yet, that concept of competing with, cash investors that are hedge funds, just doesn't enter into the mix. Of course, I always price my listings to get the most amount, to get the most amount of money, not the most amount of offers.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I just came up with a great marketing piece.
Well, we were very strict on everyone had to have a pre-qual, and you had to email me. And I told realtors up front, no contingencies. I mean, of course, you have your inspections, things like that,
And
but
financing.
financing, but none of this. Well, they have to sell their house; they're not seeing a property.
Yeah.
So we limited the number of people viewing it, and we had decided that we were not going to bid it out because it was priced for a first-time home buyer. We're like,
Yeah.
you know what? We don't
Well,
want
and the
an
first
investor
offer that came
coming
in was a good offer. And then throughout that weekend, we kept getting backup offers.
Yeah, all
And,
weekend long.
we could have done the whole, we're taking all offers by Sunday kind of thing. And
sure.
it could have turned into a bidding war, but we didn't want that.
Yeah, we didn't want that, and so the people buying the house are a young couple. They're, I guess, in their late teens, early 20s,
Nice.
first time home buyers.
That's
so
great.
I mean,
Good
it worked
for
out
them.
good. But I will say this: when finding a realtor or a title company or especially a realtor, if you are calling a realtor and then don't answer their phone and they don't return your call within an hour, find another realtor.
Move on.
Yeah.
I'm working. I'm on the seller side, and I'm working with the buyer's agent, who works out of Joe's office. And I don't know if I can mention her name. I don't know if it's important, but
As long as it's a good story, you can mention.
So the
doesn't
buyer's
care.
agent is Maria Molina.
Oh, Maria,
Maria,
total pro.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I will tell you what, one of the most professional, on point, we've spoken numerous times. We've emailed, just detailed, working for her client diligently, easy to get a hold of, and that makes selling property and buying property so much easier. And then, of course, Lisa and I have decided any deals that we control where the title business goes, we just reach out to Mandy, and so we get a little bit, hopefully, better treatment because we're going to the same place over and over, and all of those types of things, and it's important. So
It's important. Yeah, absolutely.
Relationships are everything in this industry.
yeah,
And that's a great
Top
point.
notch, yeah.
I've got one. We just got a house under contract last weekend, and we had the inspection yesterday, and it's not. Enters in if you have a good realtor. I pay attention to who the listing agent is. I don't want to just take you into any house.
right.
Because I can look at the listing agent and say, okay, those pictures are a true representation of that listing. Let's go see it. But I'm not really looking for secrets here because
Right.
this is a pro. It's Lena Morris up in the Leesburg area, Morris Realty
Yeah.
and Investments. Okay. By the way, if you're watching, Lena, great job. She had a team. She was out of town for a little bit last week, and we put her in our office. She had a great team. Again, that's back to relationships. She had people in her office that was helping watch her business. I'm actually helping watch the business of somebody else in my, and that's the kind of person you want to work with. If other realtors trust them to watch your business,
Right.
Yeah.
right, to watch. I was a little nervous about the inspector coming in without being there. And so we were able to alleviate their fears by saying, look, I've been doing this for a long time. Lena's been doing this for a long time. And our inspectors, when home inspections, Jim and Kat Schweitzer, are professionals, have been doing this for a while, and they have a whole lot more to worry about, getting the inspection done and moving on to the next one than looking at any of your stuff if they had. And if
Right.
they had that character, use them. I've used them literally dozens and dozens of times in the last 2 years alone. And so that's actually a great point. It's not just professionals working back and forth. It's all those. It's the Mandy Deals. It's the inspectors. It's if we could. I will tell you, the market would be in a much better place if they let realtors. Well, of course, I'd say that, but we got in that jam. I was going to say about appraisers. We need a better system for appraisers.
Well, here's the thing with appraisers, though, and this is true. Appraisers are getting older, and there aren't any new ones coming in. And pretty soon,
Well, it's because they changed the rules. You got to have a 4-year degree, and you've
Yeah.
got to apprentice for
boy.
2 years.
well, it requires so much now
Yeah.
to be an appraiser,
Wow.
and these appraisers that we've had for years and years are getting older. It's a lot of work, and it's not a lot of money. And you're not seeing a whole lot of new appraisers coming.
No, and
Right.
I think probably the fix is, back in 2004 or 5, it was the Wild West. An appraiser didn't have to know anything. They could say, I have an appraisal business. They were pulling comps like I
Well,
was.
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
they're
and
done
not
in
even
an
doing a
hour.
go in and
drive-by.
They'd say,
Done in an hour and a half, and
Right.
say, I think it's worth that. No, it's worth this. And, and I mean, today the problem we tend to run into is it's a big issue in the appraisal business is they should call an appraiser from the area.
Right.
I
I
tell you,
agree.
every bad appraisal I've gotten
Yep.
is coming from an appraiser that's coming from an hour away.
But that's like Lisa said. It's all about your referral partners. So of course, title company has nothing to do with ordering the
Right.
appraisal. But
Right.
if you've got the right referral partner team, you should already know that. That
Right.
should already be what's happening.
Yeah, but except the way appraisers are picked is it's done in a one-up system. They join a bank, like a bank of appraisers.
Right. So
Right.
yeah.
So it's not. Even the lender doesn't have control.
But your bank should include.
Right, but they also can't exclude the guy. It's hard to say, oh, he's a bad appraiser, because in his area, he might be great.
But why
Right.
not have an area specific?
Well, they do. Well, you got to get the state to change that.
Right.
That's the state and the federal government is the one that messed that up.
Right.
You know what burns my shorts?
What
I'm
chaps your ass? Come
I'm
on.
going to tell you what
Chili?
burns my shorts.
Chili.
The mortgage industry.
the mortgage industry.
You know why? Because you get punished for wanting to be more successful. You get crucified because you want to be more successful. and my son, very successful with Spectrum, made a lot of money. January 1st, started a brand new company in the same line of work, making substantially more. We reached out to 6 mortgage companies to see if we could get him a mortgage next year. And 5 of those 6 or 6 of those 7 or whatever it was, no, because he needs one mortgage company said he needed 5 years of business tax returns, which is bull. You only have to have 2. Some said 18 months. And the last mortgage company that we reached out to was Movement Mortgage, who works with a builder. Lisa's friends with Jen Miklos.
Okay.
Lisa reached out to Jen, and we told Jen about Hunter's situation, and her answer was, no problem. We're going to coach him all year long in how he has to go about reporting income, covering expenses, so that when he's ready to close next year, we will have a leg up on lending because we will have guided him.
So they just earned a customer for life.
For life.
That's what they did.
Simply because Jen took the initiative and said, you know what? This buyer can't buy today. But the reality is you can't buy today anyway because it's a 7, 8, 9 month build.
Yeah.
And she said, but you know what? We'll guide him because historically income has increased, and so we're good. But that's a problem in the mortgage business is once you go into business, they say, well, no, you can't do this because you don't have income.
See, but I see that as the same problem that we have in the real estate industry with realtors. But there are just as many people becoming mortgage brokers, maybe not just as many, but they're suffering from the same problem. People think, oh, this is easy.
Easy
Right.
money.
Look, I know realtors who have become mortgage brokers because they're sick of the realtor side. So
Sure.
they think it's going to be easy. People are going to come to them. They're going to, well, you still have a process. And because a lot of people are trying to buy mortgages, I can remember when I would get every day a call from 3 or 4 mortgage lenders. Oh, please, Joe, bring us your customers. Give us a try. You know, I haven't had one of those calls. I mean, I've used the same 2 companies
Right.
for years now, but I haven't had one of for probably 6 or 7
They're
years.
too, well, they're very busy right now. So
Right, and the mistake that they make, you know, it'd be like me not maintaining my old relationships because I can find plenty of new business now.
Sure.
Right, and that's just a mistake because it's like you had said, the builders are hardly at all paying. You know what? I'm paying very close attention
it's
to
not
the
gonna
ones.
last. That's the problem.
Right.
It's not going to last.
Right. Well, there
So
will be a
these
shift.
Agents will, the ones that are new to the business, you know, the majority of them aren't going to last.
Right.
So when we do see a decline in what we have going on in our market, there'll be a lot of agents that go with that.
Right.
Right.
So
Well, and
Yeah.
I think that what you're going to see is as I don't think prices are coming down. I think what we're going to see is a slowing in the rate. I am writing a book, by the way, called Renter Nation. You can read all about it when I'm done. Hopefully, about 6 months before it's finished. And
Everybody
ready
get
to
a
go.
complimentary copy.
that's fast.
Get a cup. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I got a coach. You know.
Good for you.
So at any
I
rate,
need one of those coaches.
at any rate,
You got
as interest rates go up, less individuals are going to be able to afford a house. And we need a shift in the business
But I
back to tiny homes, and that's where you're going to lose agents.
I think when the interest
Right.
rates go up, the prices are going to shift down some. I do think that.
They're going to have to
They
move
have to.
one way or
I
another.
think
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see is a slowing of the increase. A balanced market should be increasing 2 to 3% every
You're
year.
thinking a level. You're not.
I'm
thinking
not. I'm thinking prices are not coming down. I think that level will come. And again, we just talked about investors. These guys aren't slowing down.
No,
Right.
Not
You
at
know,
all.
because
That's big.
Yeah, because they see how much they can get for rent.
so
course.
so
They're
rents are
buying
high.
stuff up like crazy.
So rents are high, so investors are buying them, which puts a pressure on the inventory. Builders aren't building as many homes as they should be to keep their own profit margins high, which puts pressure on the inventory. Again, today's new home is next year's resale. And because rents are so high, you have an increased demand from the rent from the people. Mostly because builders can't suddenly start building more.
No.
And investors aren't going to stop buying because they've absorbed all that extra inventory that would have caused a crash and allowed a lower price. I think the big shift you're going to see in the market, and Ken's heard me say this before, the market always adjusts. It always fills the need. I think what we need is a shift back to the houses our grandfathers came back from World War II to. 2 bedrooms.
Levittown.
Yeah, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1.5 baths, carport, maybe a 1-car vacation home. And they'll be, instead of 6 to an acre, they'll be 10, 11 to an acre. And it's designed for retirees and new home buyers.
Well, you mentioned tiny homes. I mean, that's becoming a big thing now. And what about people who, just out of college, school teachers, just how are they supposed to afford to buy them?
Well, that's exactly my point. Is that at some point, corporate America will figure out that there's billions of dollars worth of and it might be as the interest rates go up, there's billions of dollars worth of buyers out there, but they can't tap into the current $400,000 home.
Right.
And so they'll find a way to tap into it. The biggest hindrance we have to it right now is antiquated thinking in civil governments. The whole idea is we don't want any. I get crazy with this one. We don't want any more apartments in Claremont because it'll add to the traffic. Look, let me fill you in, brother man. That apartment building that has 400 apartments will add some traffic, but so will the 3 subdivisions that are each building 600 homes.
Or more.
Or more. Let me tell you what, the people in the apartment building, they got 1 car. Those 1,800 homes, they got 2 or 3. And those people are going all the way to Orlando.
We have some neighbors that have, at least 5 cars?
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 in the road, and then a couple in the
somebody
driveway.
well, when you build a 6-bedroom house, you're going to have more than 2 people
It's
living
a
there.
huge house.
I
and
wonder
there's
how many
tons of
cars are at this house.
Probably. Well, I think what did it say? There's a 22-car garage or something like that. There's a 17-space private dock, so for your boat. So there's 17 spaces just for docking boats.
So we can all have our own boat there.
Exactly.
Too.
10 of your boats
Hey.
and 7 of your friends.
One of the things regarding the rentals, what blew my mind in looking at rentals this week was one rental required 3 times the rent in monthly income.
Yeah, that's been standard for a couple of years.
I mean, could you imagine $7,500 a month? So you've got to make or $90-some-odd thousand a year to rent that stupid house.
Well, do you know that's actually part of the homeless problem that we have today? Do you know?
Massive.
One of the big things, and working with Brian Broadway at Find, Feed, and Restore, fascinating in the housing market, because I work with a lot of these housing for all type things. I'm on the board of Provident Housing Solutions. These are all places that are trying to get attainable housing. They call it a lot of things. Attainable housing, I like talking Section 8. And we get the hardest time getting people to let us develop something. We're not talking the Section 8 welfare homes. We're talking homes for people who make between $55,000 and $70,000 a year household income. Because a rental is out of
their
for
reach.
those guys.
Right.
And so what ends up happening a lot of times is a large portion, a surprisingly large percentage of our homeless population is single moms living in a car. And it always, and some of them are teachers, cops. They're not just the waitress who's getting paid minimum wage in a diner and scrabbling
They don't
for
even make
tips.
minimum wage.
They're
It's a problem.
it's not somebody. It's not, when we say waitress, we're not talking somebody who works at Ruth Chris, pulling down
200, 300 a night.
Yeah, 200-300 a night. We're talking about the teacher Okay, so what ends up happening is they're in a relationship. Their household has been designed maybe for the last 5 years or 10 years based on two incomes, and the relationship splits up. Whether it's the man's children or not, typically the guy beats it, the woman keeps the children, and now she can't afford an apartment, because you don't just need 3 times the rent to qualify to pay the rent. You also need first, last, and security.
Yeah.
So if your rent is $2,200, you need $7,000 in
$7,000.
savings.
$600.
If you're if you're living in a car, you ain't got $7,000 in
Right.
savings.
And that's almost a down. I don't know.
It's almost a town
Like
payment. Do you know, for January, for the first time in history, there are 3 states. It's actually cheaper to buy a house than to rent one. For years, if you bought a house, you had to pay like a couple $100 over what your rent would be, till rents caught up to where your mortgage would be. It's exactly opposite. And those states are Florida. I think it's Florida, Ohio, and Texas. I might be wrong about Ohio. I'm sure about Florida and
interest rates
Texas.
are lower, even though prices are higher. But because the rate of rent went up.
Right.
And that's the problem we have in the mortgage business. It's been easy.
It's been easy.
And so they can be picky. Well, be picky, but, I'm going to work with the people that helped me out when I needed to help other people.
Right.
Not the guy that – I actually said this to a mortgage person the other day, and they were like, well, if you brought me a paper, there'd be no problem. I was like, anybody can write a paper. I'm not even a mortgage broker. I'm pretty sure I could find somebody for a paper to do a private mortgage if I had to.
Sure.
I mean, I need you to write the guy who's never missed a rent payment in has never even been late. I had a customer who qualified for everything except they were right on the edge of debt to income ratio. And I said, this is absolutely nuts. This guy hasn't been late for a rent payment in 15 years.
Debt to income is an utter farce.
It is.
Because every single, almost every single home buyer, the day after they close on their home, they buy a new vehicle, they buy new furniture for their home, and they buy any additional things that they can on credit. It's a farce, and you're absolutely right. If somebody has had excellent rental history, that needs to be reported to the credit agencies, and that should be more valuable than debt to income or anything else. The ability to pay the rent on time, because people are going to pay their housing before they pay for their boat, their second car, their motorcycle, their vacations. They're going to pay for the roof over their head first. And that's the problem, because the mortgage business operates in the 19th and 20th century. And we have to move ahead.
Do you know what's really funny? But
I get angry with that stuff, I'll tell you.
In the
It really
19th
burns
and 20th
me.
century, mortgages were not controlled by national agencies. They were controlled by local agencies, regional banks. There was, I was talking to an older gentleman, and he told me his first 2 mortgages, one on his business, one on his house, he knew the guy, and the guy knew him. And when it came time to qualify, the guy spent an hour calling his local references.
Sure.
Is he a man of good character?
Of course.
Does he pay his bills? It didn't matter what he owed in debt.
That's right.
It didn't matter what his credit card statement said, because the banker could call and say, okay, Jim, well, you need to work on this. You probably need to lower your debt, but we're going to give you the mortgage.
Of course.
Well, we're a
Because-
long ways away from where we were in 2004, 5, and 6, where it was like,
Oh,
Ken,
stated income.
Ken, you make $90,000 a year? Awesome, dude. Go get
Yeah.
a $300,000 house.
120% of the market value. We'll give it to you.
That's right. That's
Which
right.
is why I don't think we're going to see a crash
Right.
at all. And I mean,
You had a lot
let
of
me
stated
say,
income. You had
if,
a lot of adjustable rate mortgages.
God
and-
forbid, I mean, Soviet Union sends a nuclear bomb to Iowa, you might see a crash in the market, right? But barring, and I think you'll see regional crashes, places that depend on one industry have a very good chance of. I mean, we saw it in Detroit. It was really funny in the last crash. There was no reason for the Florida market to be. Florida actually led the nation in foreclosures, and I used to hate when people would say that like this was the place that was really bad. I was like, we also led the nation in second and third homes.
Right.
All of our foreclosures aren't people who live here; they're people who live somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's face it, if you got 2 homes and your business gets cut in half, you're going to keep the mortgage payment on the one you live in.
That's
Vacation
right.
out
That's
is
right.
going south.
That's true.
On that note, we've been over an hour. We're cruising right along, and we're going to take a minute to do our marketing minute.
Yes, we didn't warn you about this.
It's a marketing
We'll
minute,
let
but
you go last.
you can go
So
last,
can get
see
the
how
idea.
it's done.
Okay.
So real quickly, as you know, I'm Ken Rose with Minuteman Press. We print, promote, and get stuff to you. And on a very exciting note, I won the lottery. I found out that there is paper back in Florida that's being delivered tomorrow. So I've got paper back on the floor, thank God. But Minuteman Press, we design, print, and promote you.
Nice.
I am Joe Carlisle, representing Remax Titanium, among other things. My marketing minute is, I was actually writing this down here, and you've heard me talk about this. You need to hire a realtor with strategies to overcome the challenges in today's market. When I'm looking for a buyer, I'm trying to find a house, not just the ones that are on the MLS, which might fit fine, but I find neighborhoods and then try to call and find a house that's not on the market so you don't have to fight with a bidding war. And if you're listing your house, I just wrote this down, you need to price your house to get the most money, not to get the most offers. And they're two completely different things. If your house gets 20 offers in the first 10 hours, it's grossly underpriced. Now, frankly, 1% of $50,000, $1,500 to me, right? Is that what that works out to? About $1,500? You know, that's my mortgage. That's gone that quick. It doesn't really matter that much to me. But $50,000 matters a whole lot to you.
Yeah.
Don't leave it on the table because somebody tells you that they can get 100 offers. Any squirrel can find an acorn when they're running through a field of acorns. Anyways, that's my marketing minute.
All right.
And I think I've ever had.
All right, so my marketing minute, my specials of the week. Since we're talking about real estate and mortgage, there's some items that would be super cool, very affordable. These are house jar openers. Remember we were discussing this?
Yes.
I
yes.
personally have one. Crazy.
Hang
I
on, we
have
got
one
a
in my
troublemaker
house.
enter in the house.
That's
here.
a Seacoast Bank one, and
Oh.
I actually use it all the time. So this is a great idea if you want something affordable to hand out. They are 98 cents a piece for a minimum of 300 of them.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing.
That's good
And
too.
full color, you have to add. It doesn't say on here. I think it's $1.25 per item if you want full color like this.
Opener?
Yes.
I literally tore my hand open trying to open a bottle of like Diet Coke the other day.
Really?
And I wish I would have had one of those jar openers.
See? What else you got?
And this is a mouse pad. It's a
Cute.
house-shaped die
Oh,
sublimate.
we like the
computer
mouse
Ooh, I
pads.
like that.
And this does come in full color.
Is that the size, or is the mouse pad bigger than the mouse?
Let's see, 5 inches wide by 5 inches high.
All right, so it's about the size of a mouse, approximately.
Yeah, the mouse.
It's more like a
So,
rat.
so the mouse has been digitally imprinted.
Yes.
in this.
Yes,
It's
that's
not
correct.
actually a mouse. Good.
Correct.
These are $1.25 a piece for a minimum of $250.
Great marketing tools for
How much is that? Full color?
full color.
What is?
That one is full color.
Great for real estate, title, mortgage,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
they're house shaped, so they're super cool.
Home inspectors and so on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Marketing
All
minute.
right, back to Mandy.
Mandy, marketing
Now,
minute.
marketing minute is obviously a shameless plug. You can plug anything you want. No shame, no judgment, no foul. Go ahead.
So my marketing minute is, of course, I'm Mandy Deal. I'm so glad that you guys invited me to be here today. I'm with DOMA. Thank you all for having me. But, you know, like I said earlier, we specialize in residential and commercial real estate closings. But what some people probably don't tell you is their companies aren't like ours. So we are customer obsessed. We like to treat our customers like we treat our families. So if you're looking for good customer service, and I never say send me one, send me 3. Okay? The first one, we're going to do some work for you. The second one, you're going to start understanding how we do. The third one, you're going to say, man, I love these guys. And that's when we become a family. So Mandy Deal, DOMA Title, thanks guys for having me.
Sweet. Well, on that note, we will see you next week on the Joe Knows Show. Joe, you got anything to add?
Just want to say thanks for coming.